when I was 16, 17 years old, I had coaches from all over the country calling my house every night. My stock went up greatly in basketball. I'd walk in the door from practice my junior year, my senior year, and I'd be on the phone for 2 or 3 hours and under pressure conversations. And that's pretty tough for a high school kid to go through that with all that big head attitude that can bring. Well, I ended up playing big time college basketball. Went to Duke University. My freshman year, we played in the final game of the NCAA tournament. Went all the way to that Monday night game. I even, as a freshman, got in the game, scored 4 points. We got beat by 6 by Kentucky, but I promise you right now, number 2's not bad in the country. Got back to Cameron Indoor Stadium, and every shoe company in the world had sent every player a brand new pair of shoes. When you're in that big time college basketball arena, particularly in an area like the ACC, people recognize you in restaurants. You walk into a store, they ask you about the games. People know who you are. You go into a store and there's your picture on posters. You can't get away with it. People are paying for your meals at restaurants. They're bringing their little kid up, asking you to sign their shirt or their something. So after I left Duke and left North Carolina and came back to Georgia when I was coaching and teaching, I was trained to look over my shoulder and say, who's looking at me? Who's recognizing me? And it was like a paranoia. It was a positive paranoia that had been built into me over 4 years. That was part of that ego trip. And it took time for me to come down off that and realize nobody's looking at me. Nobody cares that I'm in this restaurant or at this store or whatever. And the Duke thing is fading. It's gone. It is no more. And that was a rude awakening, but a good thing. You're treated as idols, these college athletes. And the only way that I survived that time in my life was because of something that happened right at the end of my high school career. I had a high school friend who was a good friend who ended up being the president of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And then I had an assistant basketball coach who was the school chaplain. We had a chaplaincy program, or a chaplain at the high school I went to. It was a private school. And through their friendship, they shared with me what it meant to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ and what it meant to turn my life over to Him. And near the end of my high school time, I was in a classroom. The teacher was teaching. Inside of me, I was churning. I knew I was a jerk. I knew I was selfish. I knew I was an egomaniac. I knew the basketball had crept into me that way. And I knew I was heading toward destruction. And so I bowed my head in the middle of a class. I kind of tuned out the teacher and prayed to the Lord. And I said, Jesus, I understand you died for me. You went to the cross for me. You paid for my sin. And you rose from the dead, and that's what I know, and that's what I'm going to put my trust in. So I gave my life to Christ. So when I got to Duke, as this raw, young Christian, knowing very little, with all this crazy idolatry flying around, the only way I survived that was I got connected to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes group at Duke University. My first church job after seminary was at a large church with a pastor that had a TV and radio ministry, and he was on the board of this, and he traveled all over the country, and he had 30 phone calls a day, and he was a pastor's pastor, and he pastored all over the country, and the Lord used him well. I haven't been used that way. That's not been my life, and I've had to appreciate that, but be at peace with just being a small to medium-sized church pastor, just loving people and serving them and leading them without being an author, without being on the television, without being on everybody's board, without having my phone ringing all the time, just doing the next right thing, serving the next sheep that came in the door, and loving on that person and telling them the truth. And that's my life. That's what the Lord has for me.
How great the love of Jesus Christ. expression that pardons me.